So I have been feeding over the past few months actually the sheep a grass hay. I'm not sure what kind of grass it is, but it's distinct from the lucerne hay and the oaten hay. Anyway, it's a much drier hay and it's very brown. And what I noticed is that when it was very green here and we had an abundance of green grass, the sheep readily ate the grass hay, the brown grass hay. And I figured that they did so probably because it was giving them a bit of roughage to offset that very rich green grass. Now that we have moved to brown dry grass with a lot of seed head here, I've noticed that they're not eating the grass hay at all. They just spread it over the ground and nibble around the edges, but don't really do much with it. So I have, in order just to supplement feed them as I normally do, I have moved to either getting a lucerne bale, which is quite expensive actually. We pay about $26 for a small bale here, 26 Aussie dollars for a small bale. But I can buy it as a chaff, which is a finely cut sort of lucerne, mixed with an oaten chaff. And then through that mix, I put in sheep nuts or corn, maize, or something of that nature, just to make it a bit more palatable and nutritious for them. They kind of go for that depending on how much of that additive I put into it. What I have noticed though is that they are very partial at the moment to green grass that has a lot of seed head on it. So particularly stuff like this, which as I say has a very developed seed head. That is their feed of choice at the moment, and that's growing in all of our sort of closed off garden areas. So what I'm doing as I come out is cut them some of this taller grass. I'm cutting that for them and feeding that to them as well, particularly trying to keep it away from fences so they don't feel like they need to push on fences to be able to get at it. In a sense, I guess this is our version of hay production. And just as I've been doing this today, it would obviously be really useful to have an implement whereby we could cut grass when it was very tall and be able to bale it and keep it for times of the year where we don't have as much grass, and that's been happening for eons. But just because we don't have those sorts of implements doesn't mean that we aren't sort of growing hay here. And this is a very rudimentary form, I suppose, of harvesting grass hay for the sheep. And if you were here very regularly, perhaps you could do this in a more coordinated way, particularly if you had a scythe or something. Although I don't need that much of it yet, so it's not the case that I would seek to scythe the whole pasture, certainly as it is at the moment. But you can see basically I've cleared that the tall grass from this corner here, and that's kind of what it looks like at the moment. It may actually grow back now that I've cut it. You may actually get a regrowth, I'm not sure. Previously I was just allowing them to come in here and graze, but right at the moment what they want to do is go for trees first, and that's problematic. Needless to say, if we ever ran out of food, I would let them eat the trees, but we haven't run out of food. It's just a question at the moment of what their preference is, and their preference at the moment would be to go for a lovely elm tree like this one here and strip the leaves and the bark off it, which would cause the tree quite a lot of damage. So if I can, I try not to let them do that.